Good evening, Lake Travis ISD. Welcome to our December YouTube live event. My name is Curtis Null. I'm proud to be your superintendent of schools. And we thank you for giving up a little bit of your time this afternoon to join us here in Lake Travis ISD, just so we can talk about the district and share with you the good news of what's happening in our school district. This is our second attempt at this YouTube live. We had a great event back in September, and we're excited for YouTube live event number 2 tonight. If you're new to this, or this is your first time watching, this is our attempt to really share information with you. You know, we can send you an email, but an email can only go so far. These conversations allow us to really give you more information about why we make decisions or how we make decisions, instead of just sending you an email to tell you, hey, this decision has been made. One of the things that's a hallmark of this for me is these are unscripted. So I have some notes of topics that we want to cover, but I view this really as a conversation amongst friends. And I've never once scripted a conversation with friends, and so I won't do that anytime that we get an opportunity to visit as a community and me as your superintendent to share information with you. So with that, I always ask for grace because I may make mistakes. That's part of life, right? Especially in a live event, but we just enjoy this opportunity for conversation. You know, try to answer as many questions as possible, but also honor your time. You know, this is a really busy time of year, so we'll hit the questions that are sort of global questions that may apply to everybody in the audience. And then if you've submitted questions that I don't answer tonight, or they're very specific to your case, we would encourage you to reach out to your campus principal or to somebody in the district, and we'll try to get those questions answered for you as well. Just like in YouTube live event number 1, I'm joined tonight by Meg Kelly. She is our great social media expert, video expert, all the wonderful things that you see happening across the district on Instagram and social media. Really, Meg is the brains behind that operation, and she's also running the show for us tonight. So you're going to hear me refer to Meg as she's going to help me show some different images and pictures this evening. And so thank you, Meg, for being here. We appreciate that so much, and thanks for getting all of this set up so that we can have this conversation tonight. So our topics tonight, we're going to start with some good news, so much good news to share. So I want to just share a little bit of that with you. Then we're going to make a transition to talk about a new system that I'm really proud of called CAV Kudos. And so I'm most excited tonight about sharing that with you because it's going to really make a difference in our community and in our school district. We have a special guest tonight. So we didn't have a special guest the first time, but tonight we do. Mr. James Buddy Bush, principal of Lake Travis High School, is going to join me. We'll talk all things Lake Travis High School, including some graduation 2026 information. And then we'll move on to high school number 2, talk about the construction progress, and then share exciting information about the naming and school color process for that campus, and then wrap it up with questions at the very end. So should be an exciting night. We're going to jump right in and get after it. And first thing I want to talk about is just the conversations I've had with people throughout the school district. It's been amazing. I am now crossed over the 6-month mark in my time here in Lake Travis ISD. I started on June 1st. So here I am now, just a little over 6 months. And I will tell you, I just could not be more impressed. I cannot be more thankful to be here. This is really an amazing place. And people ask a lot and come in through the questions like, what's your favorite thing so far about Lake Travis ISD? I think I answered that question in the first video, but and it's I think still the same answer. My very favorite thing, and it's the difference from where I moved from to here, is where I moved from was a really large school district with 74,000 kids and 70 campuses, you know, bigger than Austin, to here with 11,000 kids and 11 campuses. I feel like I have the ability here to really slow down and to really be more present. And my favorite thing to do, all things are wonderful. My favorite thing to do is been car rider duty in the mornings. And I know that may seem simple, but it goes back to my principal days. I love standing in front of the school, greeting kids at the beginning of each day and waving to parents and having conversations. And that is something that I never got to do in a previous job, but here I get that opportunity. So to stand in front of the school and to talk to the great teachers that are out there welcoming kids, and to see the kids get out of the cars and have conversations with them and shake some parents' hands. It's really the brightest part of my week when I get to do that. I've done it every week. I'm really locked in, and I have accountability partners to make sure that I do it every week. But that's what I'm doing, and it's my favorite thing to do. So I usually try to get there a little early and walk through the school, maybe see some teachers and welcome the kids in, and then maybe make a few laps in the school before I leave as well. And it is the best way to start the day. And I will tell you, all of our campuses, this is true of. One of the phrases that I share, and I'm not sure that it's grammatically correct or correct in any way. I'm just going to tell you, like, the true feeling that I get is our schools don't feel like real life. I mean, when you walk into our schools, it's like you walk into this magical place where there's these wonderful people. All of the staff members are amazing people that love your children so much. And then these just beautiful, wonderful gifts of children come walking in the door, and it's really magical. And that applies to every single one of our campuses. They have a little bit of different feel. Everybody has their own personality, but they're all so special. And it's amazing. And the most impressive thing to me about this community so far has been the people. So it's those people in the buildings, it's the wonderful staff members, but it's also just the community at large. You as parents have been amazing, so kind. Every event that I go to or I'm out in the community, I was out at the turkey trot on Thanksgiving morning with so many families, and just had great conversations with everybody. I'm just amazed at just the high quality of people that live here, that are positive. They want the best for their children. They want the best for everybody's children. And they're really just dedicated to making this a special place. And you're doing an amazing job of that, because you can feel it everywhere you go. So, so impressed with the people. That's the thing that is the most impressive. Then people also ask, like, well, what have you noticed? Like, what are our challenges? What have you seen? Well, we've talked about the budget challenges before. We may talk through that a little bit more tonight in some places. We know we have to deal with that. But the other challenges that I see is, while we're already really strong, we're really good. We're an A district. We're proud of that. There's still room. Our ceiling is really high here. There are amazing things that we can do. And we're already doing a lot of great things, but we can be much better than we already are. And so my challenge as the superintendent is, how do I help everybody reach their fullest potential? And when you're talking about reaching potential here, you're talking about that super high ceiling, because these kids have no limits. So what can I do to help bring that here? Well, part of it, when I look at the landscape of the whole school district, I see a community or a school district that grew really quickly from a small, maybe 3A school district back in the day, 4A, into the 6A school district. And there are opportunities to provide some structure, some systems that maybe we don't quite have yet in the school district, that when we can apply those to what we do, I think we're going to see us really rock it. You're going to see a couple of examples of that tonight. Our CAV Kudos system is an example of when you value something. If something is important and it means enough to us that we want to improve it, then we have to invest in it. We have to create a structure, create a system, and we're going to do that across the school district. And we're going to show you, like I said, a couple of examples tonight. So, but when you're starting from this position where we're already performing at such a high level, that's a gift. So, 6 months in, I can tell you, I could not be more pleased with my decision to come here. The opportunity that the school board gave me to come and be the superintendent here in Lake Travis has really just been a blessing. So, in this season of Thanksgiving, I want you to know that I am so thankful to have this opportunity to be here with you and to be able to talk with you this evening. And so let's share some of the great news that's been going on here in Lake Travis ISD. The kids are amazing. They're performing at high levels. And what you're going to see tonight is we're going to highlight some things all across the board. You name it, where children find their passion and you can give them an opportunity to live through their passion, what you can see is greatness. And we're going to see that in a lot of our kids today. So let's meet a few of these kids that are doing great things. Let's start with our National Merit Scholar kids. So in October of every school year, high school juniors across the nation take the PSAT, and we get those results back. And if you are a top 3% across the state of Texas, you are a commended scholar. And if you are a top 1% performer on that National Merit qualifying test, then you are a National Merit semifinalist that will move on to be a National Merit Scholar. And so you can see that we recognized last month at our school board meeting 48 children that were commended scholars, and 14 of those were actually National Merit semifinalists. So that is a great number. You can see those smiling faces, and they were able to come in, and we were able to recognize them at the board meeting. And we couldn't be prouder of these great high-achieving scholars. Up next, our young ladies are really performing, had a wonderful year in the gym. Our volleyball team performed at a super high level, made the playoffs, by district champions in the playoffs, really had a hard-fought last match against a team that went all the way to the state tournament, I believe. So we were a special team this year. I enjoyed watching them play. Had a chance to see them a couple of times. Volleyball is a fun sport to watch. If you haven't had a chance to get out and watch high-level volleyball, I encourage you next year to go out and watch our young ladies compete, because they play really hard. And that was what I took from watching them play, is they're a tenacious bunch, and they were really fun. So we're really proud of the volleyball team. Congratulations to them. If you go to football games on Friday nights, one of the things you notice is the band. And, but that's just a product of what you really should see when you think about the band is show up at 7 o'clock in the morning during the school year, or 7 o'clock in the evening, or show up in the summer when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside and look who's out on the pavement and the asphalt practicing. It's always the band. Nobody works harder than the band. And I'll also say that nobody works harder than a band parent. So our band had an amazing season this year. They advanced out of district competition area and actually advanced to state once again. That's kind of been a trend. It's not something we should ever take for granted because it's hard to do. And yet our band had another great year. Their show this year was really outstanding. So we congratulate our band. You can see in the picture there in the upper left is one of their performances in the Alamo Dome this year. And so we're really proud of the band. And as part of the band is the color guard, all of those pieces that go to really put on an amazing show. So congratulations to our band. Now, we have another group of young folks that had opportunities this year that have never existed at Lake Travis High School. I'm going to try to remind myself to talk to Mr. Bush about this when we bring him on here in a few minutes, but we have a new esports team. So esports is kind of taking over and being seen as an athletic competition across the nation. And we were able this year to add an esports team at Lake Travis High School for the first time. And you can see some pictures here of their room these are early pictures of their room. We're kind of building onto this for them. They competed in their very first competition and they won. The very first competition they competed in, they not only won, they qualified for state competition. So this is a great group of young people finding their niche, right? Finding where they fit, what makes them special, what can they be great at. We want every child at Lake Travis High School, all across the school district, to have opportunities to live through their passion. And these are young folks that are living through their passion in esports. We're excited that we were able to bring this and make it happen. Thankful to our technology department that was able to make it happen under Mr. Bush's guidance. So we're thankful for our esports team. We wish them the best of luck as they advance forward to state competition next semester. So good luck to them. Now, one of the things that at your house, and I'm sure as you're looking around your kitchen maybe right now, or you walk through, is everything feels better when there's children's art on the wall. You walk past that refrigerator and you have that special piece of art that your child worked on, or perhaps you have taken a piece of art that your child brought home and framed it and put it on the wall. It just changes the whole feel of your house. Well, it's no different for us and the house in which we live in, which is the administration building that's located right by the high school. Every day I walk into that building, I want to always be reminded every step that I take into that building that I'm there every day for kids. They are the reason why we exist, and every decision that we make should be made in their best interest. Well, one of the ways that we bring that reminder in front of us at all times is to bring their artwork into our building. So for the first time this year, we had a superintendent's art show where we had selected multiple pieces of art from students all across the district. Every campus was recognized. We framed students' artwork. We have hung it in our administration building. We had a night where we could invite all of these wonderful artists and their parents and their grandparents to come in and see where their artwork is displayed and to take pictures and to have cookies. And it was just a wonderful evening. And you can see some photos here of that great event. This artwork continues to hang in our administration building, and it will be changed over in the summer. So each year we will have new artwork that will come in. So perhaps one day your child will have a piece of art displayed in our building. And for those great artists that have work displayed now, thank you. Thank you for brightening the day, my day, each and every day as I walk in through the building and into my office and see wonderful student artwork there. It's truly a gift. So we appreciate you sharing your talents with us, and it really makes a difference each and every day. Now, we also have great performing artists as well as our great visual arts students. Our thespian group went and competed. They took second in improv at the state competition this year. So once again, I mentioned we're seeing kids performing in the classroom, on the athletic field, in the fine arts. We have kids throughout the school district that are just doing amazing things. So congratulations. What a cool picture that is, those kids on the right. Congratulations to our theater team for the great work that they're doing. So to watch kids do what they love is special. Now, I love concerts. I love to go to a concert, choir, band, orchestra, you name it. The talent level of these kids is amazing. But truthfully, my favorite concerts of the year are the holiday concerts. I love them. I just really enjoy that. And so here we are. We are now in that season where we're going to be super busy with holiday concerts. We're here tonight at CAV Middle School. They're actually going to have a band concert this evening as we leave here. I'll probably try to pop in and watch a few minutes of that before I leave here tonight. But we have great concerts all across the district. We have compiled one kind of calendar that you can look at and see. So I know that you'll be, you'll be active going to the events of your child, but we want you to see all of these events because perhaps you have a sixth grader that is just learning to play the violin. Maybe you want to take them to the high school orchestra concert, or perhaps you want to take that young flute player to the high school band concert so they can see kind of what they will be in 5 or 6 years. So, or perhaps there's just some folks, maybe you have neighbors that don't have children, but they're looking, maybe they're retired and they just are looking for entertainment. This is great entertainment. And what we need to be more conscious of is to invite people that don't have connections to our school district into these great events. Because if you're not directly impacted by children every day, if you don't get the opportunity to interact with children every day, it's human nature. It's all of our human nature to think, oh, the younger generation is this or that. I believe this young generation is amazing. They're amazing young people with incredible talents that my generation never had. So we should invite people in to let them see that example instead of believing things that maybe they hear on TV or just, out in the world. Let's invite people. Invite your neighbors to come with you, or share this calendar with folks and say, hey, maybe you should, go check this out. It's an opportunity to see a free concert and really live through the holiday spirit and see some amazing kids and support amazing kids, to cheer them on and let them know that we care about them as a community. So we're happy to share this calendar with you. Hopefully, maybe Meg, we can add maybe just a direct PDF link below this in the future, so somebody can click on it below and see that as well. We also want to highlight a big happening around here, and it's something that I think perhaps the community is a little spoiled to having a lot of football success, but it should never be taken for granted. What Coach Carter does and the entire football staff, and from the Lake Travis Youth Association through all the wonderful parents, the way that we invest in student athletes around here is amazing. But our football program is going to play on Friday night in San Marcos, and we're in the Elite Eight round of the Texas High School football playoffs. So we win this one, we'll be in the Final Four. This is the regional final to win for our region. And we're an undefeated team right now. We're really proud of the guys. They're a fun watch, and I want us to pack the stadium at Texas State this Friday night, 7:00. The weather forecast early in the week looked like it might rain. I'm hoping the rain's going to hold off. I think it's going to be a little chilly. That's okay. That's football weather. We can bundle up and go cheer on our Cavaliers, because we shouldn't take for granted the fact that we're here. There's not many schools still playing, and yet here we are again with an opportunity to, if we win this game, then we'll play the regional champion from the Houston area. So we're right there on the cusp of greatness on the football side. And remember, when you go to a football game, it's the football game is happening, but it can't happen without the cheerleaders and the Cavalettes and the band. You see the greatest display of what a community is all about on a Friday night. And all of the kids that are out there are doing great work, from the student athletic trainers and the managers, and once again, to all those performing art groups. They're great. And then you see the parents that are holding the giant LT to try to keep it from flying away in the wind, and then the band parents that are moving all the equipment. It is a display of community spirit, and hopefully you'll be there and get to enjoy that. I want to mention too, the Cavalettes are amazing. I was a dance team dad. My daughter was in dance throughout her high school career, so I have a special love for the dance team. I always make sure to watch their performances, and they do great work. Really enjoyed the Thriller performance on Halloween night, but they went and did an assessment a few weeks ago as well and received all ones, which is the highest level of achievement. So once again, just another group being amazing, doing what they do. So we're really proud of the Cavalettes and all that they do. And just, let's make sure that we get out there on Friday night. I know it's busy, it's that time of year, but let's not take for granted that these things just always happen because we're Lake Travis. I know that there's a lot of stars on that logo, and there's been a lot of state championships, and we're proud of that, but let's make sure that this group of young people, these students, these seniors and juniors and sophomores and freshmen, they feel the love from our community to them today, and we don't just live in the past of those previous state championships. So I'll see you there Friday night. We'll look forward to cheering on the Cavaliers. Let's win this region and go on and tackle the Houston region, and then we can travel to Arlington and take on the Dallas champion there at Texas at the Cowboy Stadium and for a state championship, hopefully on December 20th. So that's our goal, to make that happen. So excellence everywhere, guys. It's really amazing, so much to be proud of. We're just really thankful for the work of everybody that pours in, because these kids are amazing, but they can't be here without outstanding parent support and the work of wonderful coaches, sponsors, teachers that pour into them, are giving so much of their time. So we want to make sure that we say thank you to those folks for the work that they do, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that in just a few minutes. Now let's circle back to a couple things we talked about in our first YouTube event, just to catch up, and I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but I know that during our first event there was a lot of conversation about field trips, and I said, hey, we're going to be fine with field trips. Like, there's a process. We should work through. It's important that we don't talk about things, but we talk about things to people that can't control it, but we talk to the people that can, and let's have real conversations. And I assured you that that was all going to happen. And I believe our elementary principals have been able to have all those conversations with PTOs. We solved the field trip issue as I assured you that we would. I'm really proud of that process. That's an example of how we'll do things. Okay, we will get to the right answer, and that's part of what I assured you last time. I'm proud that we were able to make that happen. One of the other things we talked about a lot in the first video, and I'm not going to rehash all the hows and whys in this video, but you can go back and click on the first one, is attendance. So we talked about how important it is for kids to be in school. It's a difference maker for their performance academically, but it's also a difference maker for us in our budget. And I am proud to share with you that, guys, we have responded. This is an example of this community. When we can educate and show you all, you're amazing. So let me show you a graph here, Meg. Maybe we can pull that up of our attendance, and you can see this is an example of our attendance rates from the previous 2 years to the first 2 6-week periods of this year. And you can see in that purple, we are up this year over last year about 0.6%. That's a significant number. Guys, if we were able to just stay at this point above where we were last year, all this year, we're talking about $450,000 to our budget. That doesn't cost me or you any more in tax money. It just brings that money to our school district that's going to allow us to employ more staff members, pay them better, do all the things that we know is important. So let's continue to stay focused on attendance. We're gonna keep talking about it over and over. I'll keep updating you, but you're doing it. Thank you. It's working. And you see in that chart, attendance tends to fall throughout the school year. And we know some of that's natural, right? Flu season kicks in or different things happen, but let's just really try to do our very best to not let our attendance fall off this year. Let's stay at least where we are, see if we can push it even a little further and make a huge impact in our budget. And that's going to help us as we look to staffing and programs and all the things down the road. So thank you for just really doing your best and changing appointment times and changing some travel plans to make sure that you're able to be present at school. So with that, let's talk about next school year. All right, oh my gosh, we're not even to Christmas yet and you already want to talk about next school year. Well, what I want to share with you is our calendar for next school year. We have set our calendar. And I know many of you like to go ahead and you want to pre-plan a vacation. You want to get out there and look. And so we can pull up next year's calendar here. There it is. That's next year's calendar. And I know when you look at a calendar, you can think oh my gosh, we got colors everywhere. What in the world is going on? How am I supposed to know when or where or how to travel? Well, we've tried to make it as easy as possible. So we have a graphic here that's going to help you. It shows you exactly when and where you should travel. So the first day of school, it lists for you the early release days. It lists for you the 3-day weekends, the bigger breaks as well, and the 4 and 5 day weekends. So these are those target areas. If you're going to go ahead and start booking a trip to go somewhere, we hope that you will take this graphic and really look at the days that are available. And if at all possible, travel on these days where your kids don't have to miss school and they can be present with us. But we also recognize that making family memories is important. You need to have those times of going on family vacation and making memories. But if we can do both, make the memories and be present at school, that would be awesome. So we share this graphic with you. We'll put it out on our own social media. Once again, perhaps Meg, we can link this below in a printable version below this video so that you can hit print on it and maybe share it as well on your social media. We just need everybody to see it. I think once again, when we know, we can make good decisions. It's our job to help you know, and that's what we're trying to do with this little graphic. So let's plan ahead, try to make sure we have our folks, our kiddos at school as much as we can. Okay, this is what I'm most excited about tonight. This is the thing that I think is going to be a difference maker. When we talked a few months ago, we talked about the importance of spreading positive voice into the world. We know first of all, we know that we're not perfect, and we know things are going to go wrong from time to time. That's going to happen. We know there's going to be opportunities for us to improve and make things better. And typically when things don't go perfect, folks usually let us know. That's pretty common. What's a little more of a struggle is we don't always hear from folks when things are going right. You know, on a given day, we might have 5 kids have a bad day, but we had 10,500 kids have a great day. But social media may only give the impression that about those 5 kids having a bad day, but who is telling the teachers, who is telling the kids that they had a great day? Well, we talked about the importance of spreading that positivity into the world. Once again, if you value something and we think it's important, then it's our job to invest in it and create a structure that is going to help people actually do it, make it easier on everybody to make it happen. So tonight I'm excited to share with you what we call CAV Kudos. This is going to be a system that is going to allow you as parents to go in and put in a positive note directly to a staff member. And it might be a campus-based staff member like a teacher or counselor or anybody that works on the campus. You can also choose a district level person. If there's somebody maybe in the special education office or in any office, any of us that you would want to put in a positive note for, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Here's one of the cool things about CAV Kudos. When you go in and put in a CAV Kudo, it's going to email that person directly and tell them, show them exactly what you have to say, the positive things that you have to say. But the other nice thing that it does is it's automatically going to send that same email to their boss. And it's nice when we hear nice things. It's so great, but it's also nice sometimes when our boss sees those nice things be said. So when you put in a CAVS Kudo for a teacher or for any staff member, it'll go directly to them. It will go to their boss as well so that they see that. Now, we're here in the holiday season, and I'm not telling you that they don't appreciate a Starbucks gift card or whatever holiday gift that you may want to give. That's nice. But there's nothing that means more to a teacher than just somebody really stopping to acknowledge the hard work that they do, the way they love your kids, the time that they invest in your kids. And so if you would take the time to do CAV Kudos and say, thank you, it's a difference maker. So let me show you how to do it. So I think, Meg, can you pull up my laptop here? Okay, so here we are. We're on the district's website, and I'm gonna try to not go too fast so that I don't make everybody crazy here as I show you. But here we are on the district website. You go to the upper right-hand corner, and you see CAV Kudos. Some of you may have already noticed this in the last day or so as it's shown up and wondered what it is, but here it is now. It's live and active, so I'm gonna click that, and it's going to pop up here. And let me roll down, and you can see once again, so the word CAV you see is all caps, C-A-V. That stands for Celebrating Amazing Victories. All right, so how do we celebrate these amazing victories? We want to strengthen this partnership between the school system and parents. When you go down, you're going to select the campus that you will, for a campus-based employee, or you can roll down here and do, for district folks, you can roll down here and see this form. But let's just walk through one. So I'm going to go to Lake Travis High School. And you'll see it'll pop up here. Here we go. We have different links. So if you're internal or external, you'll click the appropriate one. But what I'm going to show you tonight is if you're a parent sitting at home, this is how you're going to do these. Employees, you can play with this when you're inside the system. But for outside the system, we're going to go right here, parent community use, LTHS, campus-based staff. So I want to recognize somebody that works at Lake Travis High School. I click that form. It's going to bring me here. Okay, what is my email? My email is nullc, at lthisdschools.org. All right, my name, Curtis Null. Okay, I click next. Okay, who is the staff member that you would like to celebrate? This is a drop-down box, so this is great because maybe you're like, I'm not really sure if I remember my kid's teacher's first name, but so let me look. So this will automatically be populated with all of the staff members at Lake Travis High School. So let's just roll down here and see. Who we can select. And I want to select James Bush. All right. James Bush, that's the principal of Lake Travis High School. I'm going to select him. Well, what's the first name of the staff member you're celebrating? Well, we look here. We just selected James Bush, so I'm going to go down. Well, I know that Mr. Bush sometimes goes by Buddy. I call him Buddy. So we select James Bush in the pull down because that's going to tag the correct email. So that's the correct person. And if he went by James, I would type James here. But I know he goes by Buddy. So when the certificate is made, I want it to say Buddy. So I put Buddy there and then Bush. All right. Now I get to roll down. And at the high school, they have what they call ride characteristics. So each of these forms are campus specific. So it may look a little different when you go to your child's school. But for the high school, these are the check boxes. So I can just go down and I can say, look, Mr. Bush is amazing, has an amazing positive attitude that I want to recognize today. He is definitely going the extra mile. So I can click as many of those as I want. But then the real special spot is down here where you get a free response opportunity. This is your chance to really go in and tell the staff member why you appreciate them. So, Mr. Bush, I appreciate your passion. Okay. And obviously I could go on and on and on about Mr. Bush, and you're going to get a chance to meet him in just a few minutes. But I just want to do this. So I say, thank you. And I hit submit. Now, boom, Mr. Bush just got an email. Mr. Bush's boss just got an email. And when he goes in and opens that email, there's going to be a certificate that is kind of made. It's going to look kind of like a certificate for him. He can print that out and keep that. And it's going to mean the world to any employee that you take the time to recognize. So we're really excited about these CAV Kudos, but that's not all. It's really important that we recognize our staff. That's great. But, and you as a community member can do that. But I know we have some employees watching as well. And the real power of CAV Kudos come that for us as employees, we can make CAV Kudos for all students. So this is a mechanism now. Traditionally you can make a discipline referral when a child does something outside of the bounds of the rules, right? But what has existed that's allow us to document a child doing great things or being a great person? Well, CAV Kudos allows us to do that. So internally, when you see internal use and a district employee clicks on that, we will be able to create the same type of form with drop-down menus for the students at the school, and we can select the student. We can fill the form out. Once again, have a little narrative as to why we want to recognize the student. When a CAV Kudo is created for a student, an email will go to the student. It will go to you as a parent, and it will also go to the child's assistant principal so that they can see it as well. And I believe you will see campuses celebrate students that receive CAV Kudos, celebrate teachers that receive CAV Kudos. This is an amazing system. This gives us an opportunity to really spread positive news across our community. I hope that it's something that you will appreciate. It is live tonight. We're turning it on tonight, and it is live. We're just starting it. So, what I've shown you tonight is what it looks like today. in the next 3 days, we may learn, hey, we need to make some adjustments. And then, so it might end up looking differently. But if you go to the district's website, you'll see CAV Kudos. If you go to a campus, so let's just pick Lake Point Elementary School. You will notice that on every one of our campus websites, CAV Kudos exists in that upper right-hand corner. So you don't have to go to the district website to get there. You can go directly off of your school's website and get to CAV Kudos. So I think it's a game changer. I think it's the best thing that we can do is talk about positive things, to tell people we appreciate them, to tell people that we love them. I think it's the way we affect culture of this place is to do that. So, I encourage you. I don't know, maybe I'm assigning homework. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving homework to everybody. But if everybody who watches this video, either tonight live or over the next couple of weeks when you have time to go through it, if you just said, you know what, let me just send 2 positive notes to staff members at my child's school, what a difference that would make. And staff members, I offer that same challenge to you. What if we all took the time to make, 2 or 3 CAV Kudos to send to kids over these next few weeks? We could impact the way people feel over that whole 2-week break by simply taking the time to say thank you, and we appreciate you, and we see you. So CAV Kudos, thanks once again to everybody that's worked on this to make it happen. We had a teacher at the high school that was just instrumental in pulling this all together. We'll talk to Mr. Bush about that a little bit more in just a moment, but we're really thankful to have this system now. Once again, this is kind of an example of what we've talked about is, it's kind of my job to identify areas that we can improve and then provide structure and system to make sure that we do. And this is one of those. We're going to be able to track, by campus, how many of these are we producing, and we can have some challenges internally between campuses to say, hey, we've made this many CAV Kudos for our kids. How many have you made? We put that challenge out there to make sure we're recognizing great kids. So CAV Kudos, thanks to everybody. I think it's wonderful. I hope you will feel the same way. It's really going to be a game changer. Now, let's transition to having a very special guest tonight. As I came in as superintendent, we had a vacancy for the principal position at Lake Travis High School. And that's a very important position in this community. As you know, as one high school town, as the high school goes, the community goes. And I listened to the community and I heard things like, we want somebody that has passion and energy and excitement and is really going to kind of bring juice to the high school. And going through the process, I'm coming from a school district that had many high schools, and I've known a lot of high school principals, and immediately one name came to mind as somebody that, fit that bill. And luckily enough, they chose to apply for the job and went through the process and were selected. And that's Mr. James Bush. And James Buddy Bush, I call him Buddy. His friends and family call him Buddy. But the things that stand out to me about Buddy Bush is that I've watched him as a high school principal at a high school that's a little bigger than Lake Travis High School, but he made every child at that school feel special. He does an outstanding job of making every student feel seen and heard. He brings passion and excitement to everything that he does. And I've already seen those things happening at Lake Travis High School, and it really makes me excited. He's a master communicator. He's a special guy. And so I want to introduce him to y'all tonight. I know the high school folks have a chance to know him, but maybe everybody else doesn't. So Mr. Bush, will you join me here? Come on up. Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
I'm well. Thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate having you here with us.
This is my first YouTube live broadcast. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome to the show. Meg is amazing. She keeps us on track. Okay. So we're awesome. So maybe just a little personal introduction. You want to share a little bit about you, your family?
Sure. Well, hello, Cavalier Nation. I'm James Bush. People that know me well call me Buddy. So now that you guys know me, feel free to call me that. I'm a proud husband of a lady that is a wonderful speech therapist. I have two sons that are both in the district. One's at the high school, one's at Lakeway Elementary. I'm from a family of educators, so my dad was a principal, and it's cool to follow in his footsteps. And I am so thankful that we made the decision as a family to make this move to Lake Travis.
And I mean, I can't believe you didn't say this, especially after last week, but you're also a proud Longhorn, right? You have little ties to the area.
That's right. I am a little bit, and so I've said 27-17 a lot over the last couple of days.
Okay.
And so I don't want to offend anybody that's watching the broadcast.
Right.
But it's nice to return back to the Austin area. Now I'll say this. Lakeway and Bee Cave 20 years later are not the same places that they used to be, right? So we would come out here and go to the lake and the Oasis before it burned down, and maybe Rosie's Tamale House, and now there's all this other stuff that's here.
Right.
But what a really cool place to live. My family's enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah. So what made you decide to apply and make this move to come here?
So one of the things is that when you're looking at high schools in Texas from afar, there's some that stand out. Mm-hmm. And Lake Travis had always stood out to us. And so when I was principal at Grand Oaks High School, we were in the same comparative group. So we were able to see, the academic success that these guys were having. Last year they finished 4th in the Lone Star Cup. And so that was the goal that we were trying to get at my previous campus. So I knew about Lake Travis. My wife and I came here 20 years ago. She's originally from North Carolina, and she said, this is the closest thing in Texas to North Carolina. So if we ever get a chance here, can you maybe make something happen where we get back here? And then also, I knew that they got this really good superintendent that had made the switch from Conroe ISD to Lake Travis. And so I really think that there should be a special connection between the superintendent and the high school principal. And I'm glad that you brought me along for the ride with you.
Yeah, well, and you've seen, just as I have in this time, there's so many great things.
Yeah.
Tell me just maybe on the family side, like what have you all done to embrace the Austin lifestyle?
Yeah, so, my hair probably need to get it cut right now. We've kind of let it grow a little bit. Same thing with my kids. First thing we had to do was buy paddle boards. The guitar collection seems to have expanded at my home. But every weekend we've made a commitment to go do something to enjoy the area, whether that's a day trip down to Wimberley, whether that's, finding a cool creek to go swim in or a hiking trail to go on. We've really committed to embracing the area. And it's such a cool place to be.
Yeah. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the school a little bit.
Sure.
So, you got here this summer, you started doing all the fun things.
Yeah.
And school started.
Yeah.
What has stood out to you about the school, the student body, the staff?
Yeah.
What is it?
So one of the first things is, hey, congratulations, you get to be a new principal at this awesome 6A campus. And we've got all this massive construction taking place, right?
Yeah,
so, by the way, let's take away 350 parking spots from the people,
right?
And then, hey, let's take away cell phones, right? Let's make sure that our seniors that have always had their cell, let's take those away. So you had all these things, these big major changes that were occurring. Plus, I'm new, and so you're in a place that's had some success. You want to continue that success, but you asked me what stood out. And what stood out is our staff's commitment to being excellent. And so we sat down as a group and, as an administrative team, as a counseling team, and we talked about being an A campus, but what are the things that we need to do to be the most incredible campus in the state of Texas, if not the nation? And our staff immediately embraced that mindset. Our teachers have been very receptive of how can we tweak some things to make systems better, to really push our students. And I'm very proud of our staff for taking on that challenge.
Yeah. And so, I was mentioning earlier about how, if something's important to you, you have to create a structure.
That's right.
Right? You can't expect things to happen if you don't put in the work. I know one of the things you guys have been working on is tardies. We all remember tardies in our day, right? Yeah. So you're working on that? Are you seeing any results? How's it looking?
So we're working on that. Well, first thing is that I kept asking people, what is our thing? Mm-hmm. What does Lake Travis, or what symbolizes Lake Travis, right? And so, we're really having a hard time finding like that identity.
Yeah.
And so right off the bat, I came up with this concept called RIDE.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you may have heard it, and kids, they give me a hard time. We'll walk down the hall and there's let's ride. But it's sinking in, right? And we think about respect, we think about integrity, we think about dedication, we think about engagement. And all those pieces were there at Lake Travis High School. They just need to be packaged up and marketed, right? So right off the bat, if you start thinking about the concept of RIDE and respect, one of the things that I noticed is that we have a really big campus. It's a huge footprint, but I just felt like we didn't have that urgency that we needed to get to class on time, right? Like it just didn't seem to be a priority. And when you're looking at a scale of 3,500 students, when each time that door opens for a student that comes in late, that's a disruption to that teacher. That's a disruption to the other 30 students that may be in that particular classroom. And so right off the bat, like that jumped out, and I said, let's fix this system. Let's make it a little bit better. And the students just jumped on board. And I got a few emails of people concerned, and we're not out trying to punish students. We're trying to create a system where they have ownership of their time.
Right.
And there are things where, there may be traffic on 620. There may be, but all that to say that the first month that this has been in effect, from November of 24 to November of 25, that's 1,600 fewer tardies.
Wow.
1,600, right?
Wow.
That's 1,600 fewer door opens late,
Right.
1,600 fewer disruptions. And so as we start adding those things up, I can't wait to see like what type of academic achievements can be made just on that simple fact alone.
Being in class
on time, executing that respect philosophy that we want for our students. Yeah.
And I think what you've talked about there is not only just build the system, because the system's important, but it's also kind of what I was speaking about at the beginning of the level of excellence here is when you create an expectation, people they meet it.
They'll meet it.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they'll meet it.
Be it academics or let's be in class on time,
Right.
or let's come to school, like whatever it is, it's okay to have high expectations.
For sure.
And because our kids are capable.
And not only that, but now they're telling me about the system and coming to me about, well, what do we need to do to make it better? So it's really fun to be a part of that.
Yeah. So I shared esports earlier. I know that's a passion project for you. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so esports, when I got here, it was kind of just getting started. And I said, let's add some gas to it. Because I think esports, to see its popularity grow across the state and nation. Matter of fact, if you go to Las Vegas right now, you're going to go into big, huge places and arenas where they're competing, like professionally for this kind of stuff. Colleges are offering scholarships, and that's something that students enjoy doing. So we put this into play. Every single week, it seems like it grows more and more. First, we had a dozen students, then we had 30 students, and now 60 students. Wow. And so to see that momentum take off with something like that, it gives students an opportunity to be connected to the school. And as long as that we can find different ways to keep as many students as possible engaged, that attendance goes up, academic accountability goes up, and I'm just really proud of what they're doing there at esports.
I mean, it's the perfect example, like you said, of just how do we find ways to get kids involved and engaged.
Sure.
And the most important thing I would tell you as parents, when I used to say this when I was a high school principal, would tell parents and a junior high principal, is your kids have to be connected to school in some way. Yeah. If we can get them connected, let's find a club, let's find an organization, whatever it is. And if it doesn't exist yet, let's create it. Yeah. Because we need them to be, to feel at home at school, and it's a difference maker.
So that's one of the things that we've really challenged our students and our staff to do, is that we have over 75 clubs and organizations, opportunities for kiddos to get connected. So if you're a freshman parent and your student is still not found a place, we absolutely want them to jump in and find that connection, right? If you go to our Lake Travis website and you click on clubs and organizations, it has that listing, it has who to contact. All throughout our building, we're starting to kind of redecorate some things and put my own fingerprint on it. But there's opportunities for students to learn and understand like what's happening around the building, right? And there's so many cool things. Like we have a group that has taken off on a Spotify podcast that's called Conversations in Cavaliers. Wow. And they're doing really well with that. Our AV Tech group just tomorrow is going to launch a new series, kind of like the PBS Tiny Desk series. And so we're going to have students, Lake Travis students, performing live music, and it's going to be recorded and broadcast and sent out to the masses. I've had a lot of positive feedback for the work that we're doing on social media, because our job at Lake Travis High School is to not only embrace and celebrate our students, but to also tell our story and just put our students out there for people to see all the wonderful things that they're doing. I'm so proud of everybody for jumping on board and helping tell that story.
And the biggest problem with that, which is a great problem, is there's so much good stuff. Like I mean, just figuring out what to highlight and when and how to roll it out. And we know Meg here does a great job of that for the district level as well, and does some campus stuff. It's amazing. And we've had some of these videos go viral, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool when you open up an Instagram page and there's 13,000 views, there's 20,000 views, there's 500,000 views, right? We put a microphone in the middle of the hallway and have students talk about what they want to do for Labor Day, and that takes off because people want to see our students. They want to see them in our element, and man, we've got some awesome students, and I know they come from awesome families.
Yeah, I mean that's the absolutely. Well, I'm going to look here and see. Let's see. I know we had some questions come in that you're the best person probably to answer. I know one of them, you talked a little bit, you hit it a little bit. Parking. Universal problem. Every high school I've ever dealt with doesn't have enough parking.
That's right.
What is the current parking situation and the future outlook for parking at Lake Travis High School?
So one of the things that we do have coming open soon is that and I don't want it to be soon. I want it to be all the way at the end of December.
Sure.
We have that extra lot that's there by the administration building that our band utilizes for practice. And so even though their competitive marching season is over with, they were still out there yesterday practicing and putting in work. And so once all that comes to a conclusion, the beginning of the next semester, we're going to be able to open that up. And so we've done our very best. It's a supply and demand issue. We've got a lot of smart people out there that understand that concept. And so we just have a really high demand and not that many spots. But we are getting some back for the beginning of the next semester. And then after that, we're just waiting to see when these construction projects, when they're finished up. And as they finish, when the stadium finishes, there's some parking that's attached to that, and that we've lost some places because we've got staging that's happening. And so as that continues, we're going to slowly get some of those spots back. But I want to say, our seniors have been great. Our juniors have been great, and the people, the community has really understood kind of the conundrum that we've in. We've been trying to show like drone footage of what's happening with the construction, so you can see all the different things that are happening. But as those projects slowly finish up, fingers crossed that it's sooner than later, we'll start to get some more parking spots back.
And one thing is, we're not holding any.
No,
we give everything out. Everything that's available, we're going to issue.
Yeah, we don't have.
But priority goes by seniors first, juniors, and the reality is that's probably where that ends, right?
That's just where in the foreseeable future. That's where we're running out of
which is not, once again, not uncommon at all for a 6A high school.
Yeah, it's just different here, right? And that's some of the things that. Like I said at the beginning, we had to take away 350, and there's new things, and there's new routes of traffic that our community's adjusted really well to. Matter of fact, I get emails all the time about how they feel like traffic flow after school is the best it's ever been. It's because we're trying to put some systems in place to make the best out of it. But no, sir, we're not. I don't have a drawer full of extra parking spots.
Giving them all out.
Yes, sir.
So eventually high school too, that helps. But until we get there, that's just the reality, right? Other question that we had come in was. Your bell schedule. I know there's it seems like there's always been conversation, 7 period day, block schedule, whatever. You have thoughts?
I do have. I have a lot of thoughts on that. And the first thing is, and I kind of alluded to it earlier. It's a half a mile from one cafeteria to the other cafeteria, and the way that the building is currently set up and structured, we have students that are moving almost a half a mile between class changes. And so right now we have 10 minutes between class periods, which is extremely long. I can't find anybody else in the state that has that long of a transition period. If we start squeezing that, then that puts students in a bind. And so one of the first things I think about going to a 7 period or an 8 period day, that could be 70 minutes in transition.
A lot of hallway time.
So I came to school today to walk around the hallways and change classes. But seriously, I really like the block schedule. As long as we can keep that going, that's going to be my vote. I think it's great for student mental health. They're only worried about 4 classes or preparing for 4 classes a day. We have so many students that are involved. that take advantage of that double block situation, whether it be band or athletics.
Right.
And so there's so many benefits to it right now that I am going to continue to beat and pound and stand on the desk and say, we got to keep it.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Well, those are conversations that we've had already, as we look to future budget
Sure.
constraints,
Yeah.
it's as we talked about, my job is to try to provide structure that lets everybody be as successful as they can. And so, we have those conversations about, listen, if we have to adjust some staffing formulas to get the budget, but that's your job to communicate to me to say, listen, I want to be on this block schedule.
Right.
So this is adjustments we can make, but I'm going to need your help on that. And it's my job to make sure we can help you. And we'll be dedicated to do that.
But you know what? The community can help us.
Absolutely.
By making sure that their student
Be at school.
Be at school.
Be
If
at
they're
school.
not sick,
Right.
then they need to be at school. Because
Absolutely.
each time, and it's not about money, it's about academic achievement, right? But it sure does help.
Right.
For that extra income to come in. Yes, sir.
It's a difference maker,
Yeah.
right? All right. So the biggest event of the year,
Okay.
the reason why we do everything that we do from pre-K through senior year is to walk across stage graduation.
Yeah.
And we talked about it in the first YouTube, and my promise coming in to everybody this year was, we know we can't have graduation at Cavalier Stadium this year. We'll be back there next year, but this year we needed a solution, and I kind of promised you all we'll be systematic, we'll be thorough. I know you've communicated with folks. We looked at all the options. I went and looked. You went and looked. We did all the things, but graduation is where.
So graduation is going to be held at Dell Diamond in Round Rock.
Okay, and you've been there and checked
I've
it out.
been there, checked it out. It's a great facility.
Okay.
One of the things that I've learned in being a high school principal is that you're not going to please everybody all the time, right? And so, by the way, the construction of the stadium makes the new principal have to move graduation.
Right.
So we added that to the list of things that we're
Right.
going to accomplish this year. But what's really going to happen is we're going to have a very special ceremony there at Dell Diamond. Matter of fact, our juniors are already coming to me. They've heard and they're like, "Hey, Bush, what about next year? Maybe we could be there too." So there's definitely some excitement that's brewing, that's building up around that event, right? I think it's going to be a very special ceremony, and I can't wait for it to happen.
Right. So when we think about just the logistics, we have the day, we have the location. Number of tickets, have we committed yet on a minimum number for
Right.
for
So
seniors?
senior families that are out there listening to this, or our senior Cavaliers, this week we're going to be sending out a letter to you guys that kind of outline what we know right now. It looks like every graduate's going to have 8 tickets.
Okay.
And that's already more.
Which is more than last year.
Than last year at CAV Stadium.
Okay.
Some really cool things are about to happen. If you've ever been to Dell Diamond, there are these nice fancy suites.
Yes.
And so we have access to some of those suites. And so we're going to put those suites out for auction. Each one of those suites holds 20 people. They're air conditioned. They have catered, service and all this stuff. So we're going to put that out there. We're going to immediately in January, we're going to launch 4 suites for auction.
Okay.
We're going to do a silent auction. And then after that, as we get further along in the spring, Dell Diamond's going to let us know how many more suites that we have access to.
Okay.
And then we're going to put those out there for the people to have an opportunity to purchase as well in a lottery system. But in addition to those suites, we also have, there's an Intel, I think it's Intel or Insperity Club. There's a really nice club right in the center that our project graduation is going to have access to. And so they're going to be selling some tickets to that. So look forward for that information. But specifically for tickets, our seniors are going to have more tickets than they've ever had before.
Okay.
You're going to have opportunities for these really nice suites. And then the money that we raise from the sale of those suites, we're just going to turn it right around and invest it into the ceremony. And
Make it special.
it's going to be special. I like big time events. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's going to be cool.
This is gonna
There's
be
no
really
doubt.
cool. Yep.
Now, one of the questions that came in, I know it's been a conversation that we've had, and it's been a conversation out there is, how will seniors get to graduation? Now, Mr. Bush and I have come from the same school district where we graduated off-site. We never bust students. Students just met us at graduation.
Yeah.
And that always is the way we've done it. But here there was some conversation about, do we bus kids? Do we
Right.
not bus kids? Where do we stand on that
So
conversation?
when I walked in, that seemed to be the status quo, that we had to bus students to where it was that we were going to go. And I've been in traffic going that direction on a Friday
man.
afternoon. That's tough. I know the weather in May is going to be really rough. I know that we have air-conditioned buses, but but what does that look like? Do we put students alphabetically in a bus and load them up that way? We had people that asked me about chartered buses, and that's great. So I priced that out.
Looked into it.
Just got a price tag back of $12,000
for a one-way trip
to Dell Diamond. So I don't know if that's maybe the best use of funds. And so, to be honest, I've had students and parents that have reached out to me and said, "What if our student just met you there?" And that's probably the direction that we're going to go. Okay. To do that, we're going to have to kind of adjust the way that graduation practice has happened. But no final decision has been made on that. But I want it to be the best experience possible for students. And if that means we have to take a couple of buses, because I just don't want a student to miss graduation because of transportation reasons. Right. And so we're working through that.
So the middle ground may be, if you want to drive yourself, you can. If you want to ride a bus, you can.
Yeah. But I again, if that's what makes it special for the students, to be able to go out to dinner with their families beforehand, or maybe they have plans afterwards, that's definitely something we can look into.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, we want to make sure that everybody, it's a special experience, right? And as you said, the traffic is tough over there.
Yeah, and no doubt, no matter where it was, I mean, if we had it at CAV Stadium, there's going to be traffic, there's going to be complaints about parking. So, we had all different types of suggestions of different places to go, and no matter where you go in Austin, we've learned really quickly that sometimes it takes a little bit longer than you would think. So.
Yeah, and what we know is it's a first-class venue.
First-class venue, yes. First-class venue, and have an opportunity for it to be extremely memorable for the class of 2026.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Bush, anything else you'd like to share? Just what do we need to know for the rest of the school year? Or what, just tell us about Lake Travis.
Sure thing. So the first thing I have to do is I have to give a shout out to our food nutrition service.
Man, absolutely.
That staff is incredible. I know that some of the ladies are watching right now, and I wanted to tell them that I appreciate everything that they do. Right, coming from a place of what's in best interest, as a matter of wellness for your student. Yeah. The food that we serve at Lake Travis High School is second to none. I've worked in 6 different high schools. The fact that we give students options and give them opportunities for voice, home-cooked, scratch-cooked meals, that's huge, right? Yeah. And so I'm truly appreciative of the work that they do. And if your student is bringing their lunch every day, that's great. But if they haven't tried the lines, I highly encourage it. And so I just want to say thank you for that. Lake Travis is a very special place, and we've got students that are all in. And it's been so fun to get to know them, to see them kind of embrace my energy, my leadership style. I'm a little bit different. I say some goofy things on the announcements from time to time. If you walk in the front door every day, you're going to hear music jamming, and I'm going to be high-fiving and doing all that because I truly believe that the speed of the pack is the speed of the leader. Mm-hmm. And it's been nice to get feedback from students that say, hey, we see what you're doing. We know that we've got all these different things that were completely outside of your control with cell phones and construction and parking and graduation. But they're appreciative that we're trying to make it special for students. Yeah. Kind of the next thing is we've got to find more ways to celebrate students.
Absolutely.
We've got to continue to sell our story. And you know what? We got to have the CAV Nation out on Friday night pulling for our Cavaliers. Yeah. It's such a cool part to, experience to be a part of. And I look forward for you guys being out there and pulling for the guys this week.
Yeah, we talked about this before, but Mr. Bush and I were part of a couple of state championship volleyball runs at your previous school. Right. But neither one of us has been a part of a state championship football run, winning it all. Yeah. It'd be awesome.
It would be great.
That'd be a fun way to end the semester.
Right. It would be great for sure. Yeah. I'm just appreciative of all the people that have reached out to provide their feedback. Yeah. We encourage your feedback. But at the same time, I also appreciate the support that you're giving our staff, because I know that each and every day they're working hard in the classroom to connect with our students and to maximize the potential of each Cavalier.
Yeah. Hey, let's give a shout out to the teacher that worked so hard on our CAV Kudos.
So Shannon Aguirre, she is our Latin teacher.
So a Latin teacher and a computer programmer.
Oh gosh,
that's the example of the wonderful people that work here.
And if you ever go into her classroom is really unique in the way that she's teaching that language. She has students that are stacked. So if you're in Latin 1 or if you're in Latin 9, you're all kind of stacked in that same class, and they're working with each other. And she's got all these computer systems in place. So went to her and said, hey, here's kind of a vision. Can you make it happen? And without batting an eye, she said, absolutely. And so to see that kind of spark there and then spread throughout the entire district has been awesome. And so I've had the opportunity to send out several of those to get the feedback from parents. It's been really nice. And so I know that this has the ability to really take off. And one of the things we talk to our staff about is, this kind of the way that we parent our kids, right? There's, you want to be 3 positives for every negative interaction. And so that's one of the things we're challenging our staff. Like if you're going to say something negative, well, let's back it up with 3 things positive first. And let's seek the good and make sure that we emphasize that.
And now we have a great system.
Thanks, Shannon. Shout out to Shannon.
Thank you
for taking care of that.
Absolutely. Mr. Bush, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me today.
We appreciate you very much.
Yes, sir. Look forward to all the things that come up in the second semester. Go Cavs, and let's ride.
There we go.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I think you can see the energy, the passion, all the things that we talked about with Mr. Bush. Just a wonderful man. He's bringing that energy every day with the kids. If you haven't had a chance to meet him, I hope you will. Hope you'll seek him out at all the different events. He's everywhere. Go up, get a chance to meet him. Once again, just as I showed you in the example, you're able to put in a CAV Kudos for Mr. Bush if you'd like to, and you're able to do that. And so we're thankful for him and his leadership and just the way that all of the staff at the high school has embraced him and really just made a difference in what's going on there. So, well, let's go from Lake Travis High School. Let's transition now to high school number 2. And we're going to have a little bit of a conversation here about high school number 2. And we know that we're excited about that prospect. Last time we were on, I was telling you that the board had just approved the contract for construction and all the things. Well, one of the reasons that we do these conversations is so that we can be transparent. Well, transparent is a great, wonderful word. It makes everybody feel good to say we want to be transparent, but there's a reality that comes with being transparent, is that you don't always get to deliver the news you wish you got to deliver, right? Sometimes the truth is not perfect in this world, and we all live that and we know it, but there are things that happen beyond our control that we have to deal with, problems that exist, and you just do the best to make of them. Well, we've run into some struggles with high school 2 construction, and so I want to share that with you. When we approved the contract in September, we had a construction timeline that the construction needed to begin in October to meet our deadline to open in 2028. We had received information from the county that we had one more hurdle. We had signed off on that hurdle. We felt like we were going to have a permit in our hands in September and we were going to be able to go to work. We actually started the permitting process way back in November of 2024. So this is not something that just started. It started a long time ago. Well, unfortunately, back and forth with the county, if you've ever built anything, sometimes permitting is an issue. We did not receive that permit in September. We did not receive the permit in October, and we did not receive the permit in November. We actually just received the permit to start construction this week. So the reality of that is we needed to start construction in October to meet our deadline to open in 2028. Therefore, we are at a point where the opening in 2028 is very much in doubt. I'm not ready yet to tell you today that it's for sure not going to open in 2028, but I feel the need, once again, to be transparent and tell you that looks unlikely at this point. Now, we're going to give an effort to go back and look to see, is it possible to get back on schedule to try to catch up? But there's a reality here. We're talking about building over 500,000 square feet in a very rocky terrain with multiple elevations. It's a complicated build of a very big building. And when you enter a project like that and you have no cushion, you have no cushion for weather delays, you have no cushion for supply chain issues. The permit we've received is only a phase 2 permit. We still need another permit to finalize the project. So once again, we could have permit issues in the future as well. It's a struggle at this point to know that we can open in 2028. So I share that with you because you need to know that. Once again, we're not making a final declaration today, but rather than wait to tell you this information 6 months from now, 9 months from now, I feel like we should be honest and upfront and tell you when we know, and this is when we know. So we're going to work on it. I'll have more information in the coming months to see if it's even possible, but what I won't do is make you a promise that we can't keep. And if it's very evident that we can't make the 2028 deadline, I'm going to tell you as soon as we know that for sure, so that we can all make decisions and move forward accordingly. So once again, we have originally hoped for a 2028 opening. It's looking more like it's going to be 2029 at this point. When we open the building, it will open with freshmen and sophomores, and we'll add a year each year. So if we open in 2028, the first graduating class would be 2031. If we open in 2029, that first graduation is 2032. So that's where we are. I know it's not great news. It's not the news that I wanted to stand here and deliver to you today. But once again, this is why we do this, is we have to have real talk. We have to have real conversation. So we're going to work on it. Now, one of the questions came in and said, well, are we still building the high school? Yes, we're building the high school. We are committed to building the high school. The board has made their decision. The high school is being built. The road is already under construction. We're going to start construction here this month on the site itself. So it's happening. Now, the fun part of this, although I had to give you a little bad news, we're gonna go to the fun and exciting part of this conversation, in that we're going to talk about the naming process and the school color process for the new high school. This is exciting. We're going to get to give this school an identity that is going to really change this community. It'll change the whole area. Before you know it, whatever we name that high school, that whole area will be known as whatever name we as a community give that high school. So we are kicking off the naming and school color process tonight. This is the first time it's going to be unveiled, and you're going to be able to officially submit your recommendations starting tonight. So we are naming the school now so that we can give the school an identity. So we no longer have to call it High School 2. We want to give it an identity to let the community start to get accustomed to the school. We are going to select the major school colors now so that we can incorporate those colors into the construction process of the building. We want to make sure, the school colors are a major component of a high school. So we don't want to build the school using some colors and then we select school colors down the road that clash, and it just doesn't make sense. So we want to make sure that we purpose build the building. So we're going to select the school colors and the name now. So that process involves community feedback. You use these forms to give that community feedback. We will then take this community feedback to our school board, share with them all of the information that is received. So everything you send in will be shared directly to the board. And then ultimately, I believe in February is when the board will make the decision. It's their authority to make the final decision, and they will make the final decision on the name and the school colors at that time. And then we'll share it out with you all, and we'll move forward. Well, let's go back to our website, Meg. If you can maybe jump me back to my laptop. So once again, here we are. We're back on the school district's website. And if you roll over here, upper right-hand corner, you go to schools. You can see we have a site for High School 2 already. So you can click High School 2, and looky here, the pop-up pops right up for you to go ahead and make your suggestions. I'm going to close that just so that I can show you the site. So let's roll down. Here is the front door pictures of the school. And then we roll down here. We want your feedback for the school colors and the name. A couple of things here you can click. There's an active link there for board policy. Really the biggest point I want to make about board policy is we have a policy here where we don't name schools after people. So the school should be named after a region or a landmark, something like that of the area. It won't be named after a person. That's really the biggest piece of that board policy. The other thing is when you look at school colors, once again, what we're selecting is the name of the school and the school colors. We're not selecting the mascot at this time. So once we have gone through the process of rezoning and we've identified the kids that will attend the high school, they will help us with the mascot. Right now, we're just selecting the name and the school colors. So if you're just curious, we went through and made a great form here. I'll click on it so you can see it. These are the area high schools where we believe are likely to be competitors of that school, that they would be in the same athletic competition districts potentially based on size. So you can see their school colors here listed. Just, it doesn't mean that we can't have the same school colors as another school. You can. But as you're looking through, if you see, school colors that pop up a lot, you may think, well, we want to have our own identity. We don't want to be exactly the same as all these other schools. So maybe that would impact the school colors that you would recommend. So you can see here, area 5A schools, which we think this will be a 5A school. You can also see neighboring schools and see their colors. And then we also just listed the school colors for our schools here. And then just as a reference, basically the SEC school colors. But you could go through and look at all colleges and universities, or, there's plenty of ways to go through and try to, look at different color combinations and what would make sense and, what we would want. When you think about the campus itself and you look at the pictures, not that this has to drive anything, but you can see the building is a very hill country-esque feeling. Doesn't mean the school colors have to be reflected in that, but they could be. You also notice the building has a green roof. Doesn't mean the school colors have to be green. They could be. So there's just, different things that you could see there. So once you go down, you can see submit your name and colors for the high school. So this takes you to the form. So here is the form where you can submit. We're going to ask you to put in your email address. You can put in your name. What name do you recommend for the high school? You can include it there. And then I encourage you to put additional comments regarding your suggested name. Why do you feel like that's important? It's important to the region. It's important. Why are you passionate about that? Share that so that the board can read it. Same thing with school colors. You go down, here's your chance to put in the school colors. And then if you have additional comments, do that. Put those in. Share why it's important, why you think this is a great idea. Maybe you're going to say, oh, well, these colors are underrepresented. And you look at all those high schools, nobody is this color. It'll really make us stand out. Okay. Or maybe you're going to say, these colors really reflect the hill country of Texas. And I think that should be a reflection of this school. Okay. Great rationales. You could have any rationale you want. And then at the bottom, there's contact information for your name and email. You don't have to put that in. I would encourage you to do that because, perhaps you're going to make such a compelling case in your school name or your school colors that a board member may read that and say, you know what, I'd like to reach out to this person and let them tell me, I want to hear directly from them as to why they feel this way. So they may want to reach out to you. So you don't have to put your contact information there. I think you should, because it may help, make your case a little stronger. But we'll go through the process. It's going to be exciting to begin to see this campus come to life. We hope it's coming to life in 2028. If it's pushed a year to 2029, we understand that's okay. But either way, we want to make sure when we open it, it is a special place for those kids that will be attending. And so we're excited about that process. Hopefully you'll have a chance to go in and make your submissions and go from there. I'm going to pop over here real quick and just take a look at some questions. See, we've tried to work in a lot of the questions throughout the presentation today, and see. One question came in about the cottage. You may not know about the cottage. It's a building that stands in front of Hudson Bend Middle School. It serves our students that are 18 plus, a special needs program, and it's a adult transition program. So it helps those students transition from their high school career into how they're going to live beyond when they're 21 and beyond. So, are they going to be able to live on their own? Are they going to be able to have a job? All those components, that's a very special program that helps those students make that transition. That facility is not ideal. I'll tell you, we did some work this summer to make it better. It's great for what it is. It's an older building. But the question was, are we going to make any improvements there? I believe there is an opportunity there to really reinvest in that program in the future. Unfortunately, it's going to require a future bond before we can do that. But we'll have a bond committee, and bonds are down the road. I think I mentioned last time I just did a big bond. I'm not looking to do one anytime soon, but eventually we'll need to. When we do, one of the things I will put forward is that we should properly build a facility for those students. It's a great group of people that deserve that. And it may mean a standalone facility somewhere. It may mean, converting part of a current building into a purpose-built area for them. But I think we need to invest in that program in the future. That also means that we're not going to overinvest in the current facility because we think the future is going to be at a different site. So we'll look at that one. Let's see. Question on here about curriculum. The curriculum selection process is a big process. We will always go through. We're working on a math adoption now, so you're going to hear conversations about that, of new math curriculum coming. What we will always do in the process is look at all of the curriculum that's available from the state that's been approved. We'll narrow that down to what's going to meet our standards here in Lake Travis ISD. Then we bring those forward to our teachers to help give feedback, and we'll get a lot of feedback to looking at what's available. And eventually our school board will make a decision as to what curriculum is best for us. One of the things I would tell you here is that our expectations are really high here. And so when you look at statewide curriculum, they're made for every district in the state. And students of all different levels and all different expectations. We're always going to be looking at the very high end, right? We want to be able to push our kids. So that's going to be part of our process when we look at curriculum is what can we do that's going to push further? At the same time, what can we do to make sure that we're supporting our teachers so that they don't feel like they have to reinvent the wheel every day? We want to provide them with great lessons so that they're able to go teach, right? That's what we need them to do. There was also a question in here about the budget and staffing moving forward. We have $4.5 million budget deficit this year. We have to fix that moving forward. How are we going to make those decisions? Well, the deficit last year was $9.5 million. This year is $4.5 million. So there's already a lot of cuts made. So the next round of cuts are going to be a little more difficult, but we will start that process. We'll start with any positions that are non-student facing on a daily basis, meaning if you're not standing in front of students every day, that we need to analyze every position that applies to. At the same time, we understand that a lot of those positions exist by pulling burden off of our teachers. So you eliminate some of those positions, it shifts burden back onto our classroom teachers that may be more than they can bear. So there's a balance there of how do we do that? But we'll always start with what's not going to impact students the most. We don't want to remove programs. We don't remove those things. We've already identified a lot of things that we can do. I feel positive about that. But once again, raising that attendance percentage will help us need to impact that less. Also, our school board is very dedicated right now looking at every possible way to increase revenue. What's out there that we can do that can increase money into the system that we can spend directly back into the classroom. So we're gonna keep working through that. We'll probably have a really budget focused one of these in the future that will bore some of you to death and some of you will love it. But we'll tell you that's exactly what we're going to talk about, so you'll know if you want to tune in or not. But we'll have one of those in the very future. Let's see. I think that is going to do it for mental health. Is something that what came in here in a couple of questions. Mental health is really important in a community like this. As wonderful as this place is, there are a lot of really high expectations on our kids, and so while this is a wonderful place to grow up, it can also sometimes be hard because kids feel this level of expectation. They have to compete with all these amazing kids, and they can sometimes feel like they're less than they are, and we never want kids to feel that way. So everything we do has to be focused on their mental health. You heard Mr. Bush talk about things like just getting kids engaged and connected. That's big with mental health. Having great meals is big with mental health. How do we communicate with our staff? Our staff is trained every year on mental health issues. we have a wonderful program. We send out a newsletter, a counseling newsletter to you all. It gets a lot of engagement. A lot of you do look at it. It has great resources from our community to talk about mental health. We have lessons for parents about mental health. We hope that you can engage more. We do those. We don't always get a ton of people. Sometimes we can record those and share them later. Sometimes we can't, just based on the presenter. But mental health takes all of us. It's not just one of those things like the school district can fix mental health in the community. No, we can't. Parents can fix mental health of all the children. No, you can't. But together, all of us, we can, in working with all the other community agencies. How do we build this community? CAV Kudos, that plays a role too, right? How do we tell kids that they're enough? How do we make sure that they know we see them? All of that plays a role in mental health. It's important that we do it. All right, I think that is going to be, we're going to wrap that up. Guys, I want to say once again, thank you for embracing me, allowing me to be here and be your superintendent. It's truly a blessing for me. It's something that I'm very thankful for. As we enter this holiday season, I just want to wish you and your family the very best. Merry Christmas to you, happy holidays. However it is you and your family celebrate this season, I hope that you have opportunities to just slow down, really embrace each other, embrace the time that you have together. These kids grow faster than you think they will, and just enjoy that family time. I wish you the happiest of New Year. I look forward to 2026 and all the great things that are to come, but I don't want to rush us to the new year and to that point. I want to enjoy these next couple of weeks of school. There's so many wonderful events that happen, and then really embrace that downtime. And then we'll come back to 2026 and we'll make it great. But happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We wish you all the very best. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great night.